In this video, we're going to take a look at planning and solving word problems. The goal for today's video is to be able to give an appropriate strategy for solving word problems and also solve the word problem as well. On the left-hand side of the screen, these are the strategies that you'll be able to use and that you can use in future word problems. Okay, so you can, in order to solve a problem, you could draw a picture, you can make an organized list, you can make a table, you can make a graph, you can act it out or use objects, you can look for a pattern, try, check, revise, write an equation. You can see all of these are strategies that you can use. Okay, now we're going to continue on with the other word problem strategies. We always want to read the problem over a couple times. We want to focus in on telling what we know. Explain it in our own words, then telling what you know, identify key facts and details, showing your work or show the main idea. Okay, if it doesn't work, try a different strategy, possibly even retrace your steps. So what I want you to do is pause the video, write this down as some of the strategies and some of the things that you can do to solve these word problems. Okay, so we have a word problem here. It says a cake was in the shape of a rectangle, 12 inches long and 6 inches wide. A rose was placed at each corner and every 2 inches in between corners. How many roses were needed? Now, we need to figure out this problem. This isn't a simple addition or subtraction or multiplication problem or anything like that. We're going to need to think of a strategy. And the strategy we want to use to solve this problem is going to be draw a picture and then also write the equation after that. Okay, so simple steps. We want to take a look at what we know. And what we know in this problem, first of all, we know the cake was 12 inches long and 6 inches wide. And whether this is important information or not, we're just going to write down what we know for right now. I can also see that a rose was placed at every corner, each corner, and also every 2 inches in between. Okay, so we write that down, and then the next thing we want to do is figure out what we're trying to find out. What we're trying to find out is basically how many roses were needed for the cake. So the main idea, what we're going to do to solve this problem is we're going to draw a picture for this. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a rectangle here, a pretend rectangle. Okay, and we'll pretend that is 12 inches long and 6 inches wide. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to place roses at this rectangle. Now we know right away that that there was a rose placed at every corner. So we'll put a rose there, put a rose here. Okay, so right now we know that there are 4 roses. Okay, then they say there's going to be a rose placed every 2 inches in between corners. Okay, so what we'll need to do is put a rose at every 2 inches. Okay, so this would represent 2 inches, 4 inches, 6, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then this final spot would represent 12. Okay, same thing at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then on the sides we know it's 6 inches long, so from the corner to this rose would be 2 inches. Now that would be 4 inches, and then finally 6, so we'll just put 2 right in the middle here. Okay, now what we're going to need to do, we've drawn our picture, now we're going to need to add the equation, or I'm going to need to write the equation down, and it's going to be 4 plus 10. Okay, we know that 10 represents all the roses that are on the long side, and then there's another 4 roses that we have on the other end of the rectangle. And now we know that gives me a total of 18. Alright, so we have our answer now, and once we have our answer we want to write it in a complete sentence. Okay, so we could say there were 18 roses needed for the cake. So we drew a picture and then we wrote the equation out. Let's take a look at the next problem. Okay, the next problem reads like this. During March through May, Mr. Matthews sold cars at a dealership. Each month after March, he sold 6 more cars than the previous month. How many cars did he sell during these 3 months if he sold 8 cars in March? Okay, so this could be a little complicated. The strategy that we're going to think about, sometimes you may not come to conclusion about the strategy to the very end, but we're going to look at make a chart or make a table. Okay, so the first things we're going to think about is what we know. All right, and I can see that we know a lot of things. They give a lot of information. During March through May, Mr. Matthews sold cars at a dealership. Each month after March, he sold 6 more cars than the previous month. What we're trying to find out is we are trying to figure out how many cars did Mr. Matthews sell during these 3 months if he sold 8 cars in March. Okay, now this may be a little tricky to solve, but if we ever draw a picture or make a chart or a table, it can make it a lot easier. Okay, so we can see that I have a chart or a table right here. Obviously, I didn't quite draw it. I'm not that good of a drawer, but you can see that this would help represent the equation trying to find the answer. So if I have each car represents 4 cars, what we could say is just total these up and multiply by 4. We can see the half of one here is going to represent 2. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars. Okay, we know that 4 times 10 equals 40. And then we're going to add that half of one there, which represents 2. That's going to equal 42. Okay, so we have our answer. Now what we're going to do is just write our solution in a nice complete sentence, restating the question as a part of our answer. So we have the answer there. Mr. Matthews sold 42 cars during these 3 months. You can see by making this chart or table, I was able to simplify the problem and answer it correctly. Now what we're going to do now is I'm going to have you do this problem at your seats with me. Okay, so you need to get out your math journal and pencil. You should probably already have that out, and we're going to go through this one together. It says Mr. Robertson's science class students sit at lab tables. Each table can seat 5 students. If Mr. Robertson has 26 students, what is the fewest amount of tables the science room must have? So we think through this problem. The strategy we're going to use is just draw a picture or work backwards. Okay? But before we get into that, we're going to look at what we know. And we know that each table can seat 5 students, and also Mr. Robertson has 26 students. We want you to write that down in the what do I know part. Next, what we want to do is write what we're trying to find out. We're just going to restate the question a lot of times. What is the fewest amount of tables the science room must have? Okay, so that's what we're going to try to solve. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a picture. We know that 5 students can sit at each table, so what we will do, we will just draw a table here representing 5 students. That's 5, that's 10, that's 15, that's 20. Now this is 25 students here. Okay, however, we know that there are 26 students in the class, so this table would represent 1 student sitting there all by themselves. Okay, so we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total tables that are needed. Okay, so that would be our answer. However, we're going to write that in a nice complete sentence, and we'll have our answer as the science room will have at least 6 tables. Now let's do the next problem together. Okay, it says Sally bought 3 bags of Sour Patch Kids totaling 120 pieces of candy in all. Which size bags did she buy? Okay, the strategy that we're going to use here will be try, check, and revise. Okay, so first of all, we want to write down what we know. So we have Sally bought 3 bags of Sour Patch Kids totaling 120 pieces. Okay, what are we trying to find out? We are trying to find out which size bag did she buy. Now a try, check, and revise problem is a problem that you're going to try it, you're going to check it, you may have to correct it. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one with the actual incorrect answer. Okay, so let's say I think it's the bag of 30. Okay, what I would do is I would take 30, I'd multiply that by 3, and that would only give me 90. Okay, That's quite all right, since this is a try, check, and revise, or any type of word problem that you're working on. If you get the incorrect answer the first time, you can try it, you can check it, and you can revise it. Now I know I can revise it because my final answer needed to be 120. Okay, so now I'm going to try, since 30 was too small, I'm going to try 40. So if I take 40, if I multiply that by my 3 bags, that actually equals 120. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do. The pieces need to total 120 pieces, so that is the correct answer. Okay, and what we'll do now, not only just have that as our answer, but we're going to write the solution in a complete sentence, and we're going to write Sally bought the 40-piece size bag. Now what I want you to do is pause the video and complete this problem all by yourself. Try to give me a strategy, not try to give me a strategy you're going to use. Write down the what you know, what you're trying to find. Give me the main idea, show your work, then finally give me the solution. So I want you to pause the video now. Okay, I'll go over the answer to this problem. The strategy that you should have used should have been make an organized list. The what you know. Aaron, Heather, and Greg are having a family picture taken. What we're trying to find out, how many different ways they can line up to have their picture taken. And then finally, as we can see, they can line up in 6 different ways. And if you're not quite sure how I got the answer, this is how you could have set it up with your organized list. Okay, you can have Heather, Aaron, Greg, and so on with your organized list. So this would be a way to create that organized list. Okay, I'm going to have you do one more all by yourself. And here's the problem. And what I want you to do is pause this video once again. Work out the problem all by yourself. When you press play, I will have the answers for you. So I want you to pause the video now. Okay, so we can see the strategy that you would use for this would be draw a picture or act it out. This one's a little bit trickier here. So we know that Misty moves forward 5 spaces and then backwards 3 spaces each turn. Once she reaches 10 spaces forward from the start, she finishes. Okay, so what we're trying to find, how many turns will it take Misty to finish? Okay, what you could have done for this one, you could have drawn a number line, okay, with starting from 0 all the way to 10, okay, and then keep going 5 spaces, back 3, and so on until you finally hit the number 10. Okay, and your answer should have been, it will take Misty 4 turns to finish. Okay, so once again, this video was designed to show you how to plan and solve word problems. Okay, and you can make organized lists, you can draw pictures, you can do many different strategies that we talked about, but the key thing is that you check your work. You can reread this story problem as well. And if you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.